Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. It's a true honor to have you here at the Iran Film Festival. My name is Sadaf. We truly appreciate your time and valuable insight. So let's start with introducing, talking a little bit about yourself and your work, please.
Well, thank you for having me today. It's an immense pleasure, so thank you. My name is Kody Poisson. I was originally born in Germany, and I immigrated to Canada at a very young age. I've been living in Canada for about, let's say, since I was 12 or about 13, and I lived in the prairies, so Alberta and Saskatchewan, and that's where I got the itch. I started working in theater at a very young age. And then eventually I moved to the United Kingdom. I lived there for about 3 years and studied there. I studied at East 15 Acting School. I worked in the industry there. And then I moved to Toronto, which is my current residence now. And I got into film and television, and I work crew. I do producing, I do acting, I do script writing, and all sorts of things.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. So you've been watching Persian films so far. How was your experience watching these films?
Yeah, it was a delight. I mean, the caliber of talent was obviously I've never had the opportunity to watch a lot of Iranian films, so to have the opportunity to do so was actually quite interesting. And yeah, I mean the minimalism in terms of the camera work was something that really shocked me in a very good way. Um, Not so many whips and pans and tilts, but just very simplistic, minimalist filmmaking in terms of the camera movement was really surprising to me. And I must have went through at least seven films, and all of them were vastly different. Some of them were a little bit more surreal than others, but the one that sticks in my mind was what was it? Small Panda, Big Panda, or I
Mhm.
think Big Panda, Small Panda. That was really fascinating in terms of how uh, the familial dynamic works and how that affects individual personhood. And yeah, so I really enjoyed my time watching the films. Yeah.
Amazing. And were there any themes or elements in films that you find surprising or even compelling?
Yeah, to go back to the camera movement, that was a lot of the camera work was very minimalist, more on a realist standpoint, and a lot of wide shots. A lot of times in North America, you would have like an establishing shot, but this was used often in just in between scenes, or scenes would start in a close up and then go wider. So this was this was a little bit di different, but in a very good way, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. The you capturing the the environment in which the film takes place, rather than just purely on the actors.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So.
Okay, so you get the chance to evaluate these films. Did you have any approaches in the process of evaluating?
Um, I mean, there's a certain methodology I approach films with when I adjudicate them. I mean, I try to be as objective as possible because I make films myself, so I understand how the adjudication process works from a filmmaker's perspective. But I really try to see it from all points of view, and I kind of put it under my microscope, and I just look at structure. Structure is a big one. Structure, how is it formed? You start with the basics, plot, character, story, the writing. You go there and you bridge out to more the technical groundwork of a
Mhm.
film. But yeah, so usually if something's not working in a film, it usually starts with a script. And
Mhm.
so some of the films I watched that I gave a lower rating to was a result of most of the time from script from script problems in the plot.
Okay.
Uh, yeah.
And were there any challenges you faced because the films were from diverse cultures or something that maybe you're not really familiar with? Were there any challenges for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of references and a lot of I guess more traditional ways of making films that are outside of the North American uh, industry.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was different, but there was also a lot of similitudes, a lot of similarities that didn't come as surprising whatsoever. So like the strong emphasis on realism in a lot of the films I was watching is it's a very North American ideal pursuit. I mean, realism predominates everywhere, even in the series market in North America. I mean,
Mhm.
it's here to stay essentially. But yeah, so but in terms of like mechanics sometimes have the musical score that was something that was a lot different from the North American films that I'm used to either adjudicating or working on, and the really emphasis on because most musical scores in North American films are almost just background music, right? They just keep the flow and they kind of keep and they follow the hills and valley of the plot, and they act as a kind of droning sound to keep things harmonious. But I really found a lot of the projects I was watching in the festival that the gain would be raised in the musical score, and there would be these crescendos and these more melodic sounds that would rush into a scene, which would definitely not happen in North America. So yeah, there was this wonderful fusion of music, the musical tradition in Iran, and then the scenes that were taking place in the film. Yeah.
Amazing, nice. And like, how do you think the Iran Film Festival contributes to the global film community?
Well, I think anyone that makes films, it contributes to the global film community. I mean, it's small community, regardless if it's more regional or if it's global. I mean, it's the arts are always going to be small, but how does it contribute? Well, when you see the education of filmmaking, whether it's because a lot of the films I was watching came from a lot of art schools from Iran. There were student projects or thesis films. So when you're teaching the next generation of filmmakers, regardless of the country, yeah, of course it's going to contribute because those filmmakers could move on outside of Iran, or they could stay and continue to make independent productions in Iran. So yeah, I think yeah they're contributing. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. And when you watch something, of course, people have like a personal preference. How did you balance your personal preferences with the objective criteria for judging? Like, how did you find that balance?
Well, I mean, I think putting putting all rules aside and just going, was it entertaining? Did I enjoy it? I mean, that
Mm-hmm.
is regardless of where we base our practices from, whether it's in more from a North American context or a more of Iranian context. It's was it enjoyable? Did I actually gain something out of it? Was it entertaining? And then from that, you can understand. Those are, I guess, the feelings, right? Your initial feelings, inner sensations, and from there, I work to more rational things on terms of a rubric or criteria. So, okay, well, I like the musical score here, and it's very different, but why? And I start breaking it down. Oh, well, it connects with plots. And then now we have a stronger story, we have a stronger writing that's really unique, and you start breaking it down like that. But you start from a place, I think, of your feelings, and then you go to more rational endeavors. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And like, how do you think like one film can stand out among other films at a festival?
How can it like expand from just the festival to other opportunities, kind of thing?
No, for example, you watch, let's say 10 movies, 10 films. How does one stand out from the others? Like, how is it the script? Is it the storytelling, the message, the acting? What do you think, like what makes it stand out?
Hmm. Well, any filmmaker worth their salt has a kind of their individual thumbprint, you know, and that you cannot be taken away. And so example, if you're watching a Christopher Nolan film, big director, I mean, no one makes films like him. It's very much his fingerprint is on everything he does, And when I watch a film, you can tell that right away. You can tell that right away. Are they just kind of emulating or mimicking what other filmmakers have done? They're more imitative, or are they really pushing the boundary, experimentalism, like really, really
Mhm.
understanding the groundwork of filmmaking, whether it's the technical aspects, visual, or the writing, and experimenting with that to create that unique thumbprint for yourself. And that can show up in all sorts of ways, but you just feel it. Like it's like this is something I've never seen before. Now I've seen films before, but I haven't seen this filmmaker's film before. Right.
Mhm. Yeah, totally got it. Okay, and you've been in the industry for many years, right?
Yes.
So, are there any advice like you want to give to aspiring filmmakers who want to participate, start doing their own movies, or even participate in a festival like this? What should they do? What do you think is worth mentioning?
Yeah, most of my background is in independent filmmaking. I mean, I make my own projects. I got a premiere coming out in Canada in the large theaters here. It's a trilogy. And
Nice.
so to emerging filmmakers, I would just say, um, don't let budget or finance deter you. This is the big, there's all sorts of excuses that a young filmmaker can make, which is, well, I don't have the budget for it. Well, get a job, work, save up, and in a few years you can pay that film. You can have a short film. Don't rely on investors, especially if you have no credentials. It's very hard to get investments in a film when you haven't done anything. And that's the honest truth. So
Mm,
roll up your sleeves. Don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and do things for nothing. Like you got to start somewhere. So that means you're volunteering on things, you're you know, pitching in or taking money out of your own pocket to create something, then so be it. Because you got to get stuff under your belt, and once that happens, then yeah, opportunities for funding can come your way.
that's true. Okay, and last question, is there anything else you'd like to mention or share about your experience about the films or festival that we haven't covered yet?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I was just very delighted in watching this. I mean, I'm doing all sorts of things in film, working crew and then working talent and then writing scripts, and then in the meantime, in my lonely hours at night, I'm watching these films and adjudicating them. So it's been a delight to watch it, especially something outside of the immediate regions I work in, which was fantastic to experience. And it's really inspired me to think more about musical score because I'm not a composer. I've never composed a score for film, but it's almost ignited this curiosity. I know a lot of colleagues and composers who are very talented, but but a lot of the scores I were hearing in the film were so different from anything I've heard. And it's just, I don't know, it just kind of sparked my curiosity for music and how that relates to film. How does it relate to the visual, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insight. It was a great pleasure meeting you and have a great, great day.
Yeah, you as well. No, thank you so much for giving me the time of day to speak with you.
Thank you so much, Cody.